All right, let's dive into something pretty incredible, neuroplasticity. It's your brain's amazing ability to literally change itself. It's the superpower that lets you learn a new language, pick up an instrument, or break a bad habit, no matter how old you are. But that brings up a really big question. If our brains are so changeable, why does learning get so much harder after we hit our 20s?
I mean, we've all felt this, right? Think back to being a kid. You just soaked things up like a sponge. But now, as an adult, it feels like you need a crowbar and a whole lot of effort to learn something new. So what gives? Well, it's not just you, and it's not your imagination. Your brain is playing a whole different ballgame now.
And the difference is, well, it's night and day. A child's brain is this incredibly adaptable, kind of messy web of connections. It's built to just absorb information passively from the world around it. The adult brain, on the other hand, has already built these super efficient, paved superhighways for all the things you already know how to do. And if you want to change those highways or build a new one, well, just driving by isn't going to cut it. You need a very deliberate process. And that really gets to the heart of the challenge for us adults. See, your brain isn't broken or getting worse, not at all. It's just become incredibly efficient. But that very efficiency is what makes it resistant to easy, passive change. It's why we have to be so much more intentional about how we go about learning new things.
Here's the key idea to really get your head around. For adults, plasticity is gated. It's locked behind a gate. You can't just wake up one day and decide, hey brain, let's change. It doesn't work like that. You have to actively perform a specific set of actions to unlock that gate and allow the change to happen. So the big question is, where's the key?
The key, the secret to opening that gate, is something we call intense focus. But before we get into how to create that focus, we need to bust a massive, and I mean massive, myth about how we learn.
You hear this stuff all the time, right? Oh, every little thing you do rewires your brain. This experience is changing you as we speak. Well, the hard science says, for an adult brain, that is absolutely not true. Your brain is not changing just because you're passively experiencing something. Okay, so that leads us to the most important question of all. If just going through the motions, just showing up, doesn't actually work, what does? What's the secret sauce that actually triggers real, lasting change in our brains? And here it is. This is the whole game. The trigger for plasticity is an immense amount of attention pointed at one specific thing. It's not the experience itself that matters, it's the quality and the intensity of your focus on it. That focus, that is the key that turns in the lock and opens the gate for change.
And we have some amazing science to prove this. In this landmark experiment, people were touching a spinning drum with little bumps on it. Now, in the first round, they were told to focus all their attention on feeling those bumps. And guess what? The part of their brain for touch, the touch cortex, it changed. It rewired. But then they had the same people touch the exact same bumps, but this time they told them to ignore the bumps and focus on listening for specific musical tones. The result? Their touch cortex didn't change one bit. Instead, their auditory cortex, the part for hearing, changed. The takeaway here is huge. Your brain isn't just passively recording your life like a video camera. It's an active partner in this, and it will only change the circuits that you place directly under the bright, hot spotlight of your intense, careful attention. Just being exposed to something is not enough, not even close.
All right, so we get it. Intense focus is the non-negotiable ingredient. But how do you actually generate that on demand? Well, lucky for us, the science gives us a beautifully simple 3-part formula for doing just that. Let's call it the plasticity power trio. The formula couldn't be simpler: alertness, focus, and rest. First, you have to get your brain energized and alert. Second, you have to aim that energy with laser-like focus. And third, and this is the one that almost everyone misses, you need deep rest to actually lock in the changes. Now, what's actually happening in your brain here? It's all about chemistry. Epinephrine, you know it as adrenaline, is what creates that state of alertness. It's basically a chemical signal that screams, hey, wake up, something important is happening. Then another chemical called acetylcholine comes in. Think of this one as a chemical spotlight. It shines down on the exact brain circuits you're using and marks them for change. But here is the massive plot twist, the part that blows most people's minds. You can be perfectly alert, you can be super focused, but the actual physical rewiring of your neurons doesn't happen while you're learning. All that hard work just highlights the right circuits. It doesn't actually change them.
The real magic, the actual neuroplasticity, happens later. It happens when you're in deep sleep, or in a state of deep, conscious relaxation called non-sleep deep rest. That's when your brain gets to work, strengthening the connections you highlighted and getting rid of the ones you didn't. Rest isn't a break from learning. It's the final, crucial step where learning actually happens.
So now we've got the science: alertness plus focus, followed by rest. So let's turn this into a super practical action plan that you can literally start using today to learn anything you want faster and way more effectively.
First up, alertness. You gotta get that epinephrine flowing. The simplest way, figure out when you're naturally at your sharpest during the day and protect that time for your most important learning. Find a powerful motivator too. Your brain will release adrenaline for a scary deadline just as easily as for a passionate goal. And of course, the basics work. A solid night's sleep and a strategic cup of coffee can be your best friends here.
Next, focus. This is about getting that acetylcholine spotlight working for you. And here's a pro tip. Mental focus follows visual focus. The easiest way to train your brain to focus is to train your eyes. Seriously, just try staring at a single spot on a wall for 60 to 120 seconds. It works. Then, when you're ready to learn, work in intense 90-minute blocks. And during that time, eliminate every single distraction. Create what's called a soda straw view of your world, where only the task in front of you exists.
And finally, step 3, optimize your rest. This is where you lock in your gains. Getting a good night of deep sleep after a tough learning session is totally non-negotiable. But if you want to accelerate the process, try a 20-minute nap or a non-sleep deep rest protocol. You can find guided ones online immediately after your focus session. The science shows this can massively boost your learning. Even just taking a walk and letting your mind wander can be a powerful tool for consolidation.
So there you have it. The ability to fundamentally change your brain is not some mystical power you're born with. It's a skill. It's a 3-step process that anyone can learn and master. You now have the scientific playbook for adult learning. So the only question left is, what are you going to change first?